Hey everyone, Reid Henrichs with Valor, and today we're going to talk about the people that are thieves of liberty. Let's go ahead and get started. It's been a while since I've made a video, been busy. I just got done teaching 4 days of class at a great neighborhood defense. 4 days this past week, awesome class, but oftentimes I don't get a chance to release videos. I just don't have the time. I've mentioned that before. If you're new to the channel, guys, real quick, subscribe to it. That way you'll know when we put out a new video. But I found that in the last couple of years, just being a subscriber, oftentimes people don't get the notifications. So make sure you do that too. There's a bell there. You get notifications when we put out a new video, and that way you won't miss anything. So I want to talk about a concept and just really about the mental processes and thoughts about what freedom is, a liberty, how important that is to being an American, a person in general, but certainly in the context of America is what we're going to be focused on right now. You know, it doesn't really matter what administration is in office. The federal government is a devourer of personal freedoms and liberties. It's become something that it was never designed to be. They've assumed powers over many areas of people's lives that they are not authorized to do. Now, oftentimes the argument against that is, well, if it was really an infringement, then courts would rein them in. Well, if the court is a part of that government, it's in their own best interest, since they are government-appointed lawyers, vis-a-vis judges that interpret those kind of infringements. So that would be like, you know, if I had a trial in my house and I was the judge, and of course you could see how that could be problematic for an objective decision to be made. How are they devourers of liberty? I mean, just pick any topic that you can, and you're going to find that they infringe on just about everybody's personal liberty. You know, this isn't just going to be a complaining session about it, but I do want to bring some things to your attention. No matter where you think you are in the political spectrum, whether you consider yourself more liberal or more conservative or whatever those terms mean. To me, it's this. You know, if you're an American, there are certain things that we have to value. I mean, as an American, we have to value the most sacred things that we enjoy by being here, and that are protected, and that our founders wanted us to enjoy. So the things that we really have to focus on are our personal liberties, especially when it comes to the First Amendment. And First Amendment, everybody, it's not just freedom of speech, although that's certainly a crucial component of that. In the First Amendment, we also enjoy, besides freedom of speech, we also enjoy freedom of a press. The press can report on things without being restrained by the government. We can also enjoy freedom of religion. You know, we can worship the way that we see fit. And we also have a freedom of assembly. We also have freedom to petition our government for redress of grievance. So there are a lot of components in that First Amendment that are not just free speech related. But if you've been watching the news lately, you'll know that the Biden administration, I use that term very, very loosely, you'll find that they recently appointed this directorate of misinformation. They want to prevent misinformation from happening and even punish people for doing so. Yeah, it's odd because they are the proponents and propagandists. They are the ones that put out misinformation. They are the ones that mislead everybody and just outright lie on a daily basis. You can always find out what government is doing by what they accuse others of doing. They themselves are guilty of such problems. You know, if we look at our Bill of Rights and just how crucial that is to our humanity, and especially as people living in America, you know, you have to cherish that First Amendment. Free speech is so important to a free society. If you don't have free speech, you don't have a free society. Everything's not lost. Obviously, putting out a video right here on a platform that does stack the deck against people with views like I hold, which is traditional American values, which is moral belief systems and ethics that are well in line with the people that built this country, such as freedom of speech, such as the freedom to express yourself without penalty, such as the freedom to worship without penalty, such as assembling with people that share your beliefs, protesting against your government when it overreaches, and to have them listen to that and then fix themselves. So free speech isn't all lost. It's certainly being restricted in many platforms, and the government now, I guess, is in the business of deciding what speech is allowable or not. Full stop, wrong. This is where we probably want to dig our heels in. This is where we're going to have to fight this battle. And this is where it's got to start. When we start seeing government agencies put out really entities that can enforce their policies that they think people shouldn't be allowed to speak, that's when we got to dig our heels in. Now guys, the Second Amendment is certainly the teeth of the Constitution. And free speech is one of the most cherished rights that we as Americans have. So we got to decide as Americans what we value and what that truly means. And we also have to recognize just how precious that jewel of liberty is when it comes to free speech and the Second Amendment as well. This administration has attacked the first two amendments to our Constitution on a daily basis. They are anti-freedom, they are anti-American, and they're outright completely unjustified with powers that they do not hold at all. So if you're one of these people out there, if you're a classic liberal, or you identify yourself as a liberal in the sense of like maybe, you know, you're more socially progressive or whatever, the old saying used to be, I may not agree with what you say, but I'll die for your right to defend it. Now, quote unquote, liberals are cheerleading on the government to enforce people against their will for saying things that they may not agree with. So this paradigm is shifting. The leftists are becoming far more totalitarian. They're really taking off their masks and showing you their true essence. And this is where we have people from all walks along the political spectrum got to dig our heels in and push back against this. So thing is, this administration has been struck down in court so many times over the last year and a half nearly. They've been overturned countless times by the judiciary, and that's a good thing. I personally think that what we've got here is people that want to control every aspect of our lives. And the federal government, guys, is simply the agent of the states. So all 50 states, the federal government is our agent that was supposed to protect the rights of everybody. And instead they're violating it. I, for one, am not just going to lay down about this and ignore it. And I don't think that you should too. To make it worse, they put some 33-year-old girl who has no accomplishments in life whatsoever other than making karaoke videos on TikTok, and absolutely mentally unhinged, absolutely unfit for any kind of job, let alone any position in the federal government. And the Department of Homeland Security, under which this whole entity is under, Secretary Mayorkas has not only let our southern border free flow with illegal aliens, but he's the one that is going to start enforcing a lot of this stuff. But he's a failure. His administration is a failure. The president's administration is an abject failure. No successes whatsoever of any note during the last year and a half. So, you know, the thing is, guys, is that we got to start really calling out this stuff when we see it. I, for one, will continue making content that is threatening in their eyes because we don't agree with what this administration is doing. I think this is literally one of the most anti-American administrations in the history of the United States. There is no part of American freedom. There is no part of our Constitution that they respect or value. There's no part of anybody's freedom or liberty that they respect. They're trying to gut the Second Amendment with the ATF. They're trying to shut down free speech with a government entity now. And basically what this boils down to is this. If you don't say things that are acceptable to them, they can potentially threaten you, imprison you, fine you, all the things that an absolute banana republic would do. All the things that you heard about during the Soviet Union, all the things that you heard about and do hear about in communist China, same kind of entities exist there. Same thing in the UK. You know, they've got all these free speech restrictions, and some people are even being thrown in jail for saying things against the government narrative. That's not a free society. That's not part of Western civilization. That's anti-Western civilization. That goes full in line with all the regimes and empires in history that we've set ourselves apart from and promised and vowed to fight against. So when we're sitting here right now and we're concerned about it, you got to look at the greatest thieves of personal liberty, and right now it's the federal government of the United States. I have way more concern about my own government violating liberties of not only my personal liberties but yours watching this video than any other entity on earth. This whole Russia-Ukraine thing is a colossal distraction, and is designed to distract you from what's actually taking place in your own backyard here in the United States of America. And their policies, everything they have done is such a colossal failure that they need a distractor. So the great fear porn of COVID is over now, so they need to find a different topic, and now it's a potential World War III. And what bothers me is that people that are typically conservative and maybe libertarian in some ways are now, they're focused on that kind of stuff. They're focusing on a European war that has zero impact on us whatsoever here in the United States of America. And before people accuse me of not caring about what goes on in the Ukraine, I'm concerned about the people there, but I'm more concerned about my own people here in the United States of America and what our government is doing against its own people. So avoid the shiny fishing lure out there, avoid the distractions, and focus on what's going on here in our own country. So guys, this may be the battle that you may want to focus yourself on, and certainly in the near-term future. And this is something that is near and dear to me, because free speech is not only your right, free speech is also a part of what this nation has always been. And some of the darkest moments in our history have been when free speech has been suppressed by either the federal government or state governments. And quite honestly, I think that that's a jewel that we should guard very preciously. So keep your eye on the prize. Don't get distracted by all the stuff going on. This is a fight that you definitely want to dig your heels on it. And thankfully, you know, there are things that are happening in the private market that will hopefully expand free speech with the buyout of Twitter now. Had a nice cocktail of liberal tears this weekend when I drank it, and it was a wonderful thing to see. I love seeing the meltdowns and the screeching and the emotionally unhinged responses that simply reflect their rotten inner essence. If you found the information in the video helpful, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media. That link is down below. And if you want to learn how to protect yourself, your family, and exercise your Second Amendment, come on out to Valor Ridge and we can help you. This is Reid Henrichs with Valor Ridge, reminding you the lessons that we learn are written on the tombstones of others. We'll see you on the ridge.